Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, good afternoon, dear lecturer Mr. Rizal, Mr. Dika, Mr. Budianto, and Miss Widya. And good afternoon to all my friends who watch me right now. Okay, today in this next occasion, I would like to present my final project about analysis of the effect of delignification time variation and composition on the strength of coconut fiber composite. With the supervisor of this final project is Mr. Faiz Hamza and Miss Widya Emilia Primanitias. Before begin the presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Zidan Albayan Sulaksono. My number is 0617040023. I'm student of Design and Manufacture Engineering, Polytechnic Perkapalan Negeri Surabaya. I was born in Brebes 9 January 1999. There is my contact via email zidansuraksono@student.ppns.ac.id. Okay, in this outline of the presentation, the first is preliminary, which consists of background, research problem, research objective, research significance, and research delimitation. And the second, there is a review of related literature, which consists of basic theory. And number three is research method, which consists of exposure of the entire process in this research. And number four, there is results and discussion, which consists final project progress. And the last is closing, which consists of conclusion and suggestion. Chapter number 1. In this chapter, I explain about the background of my final project. Indonesia is a maritime country with one of the transportation supporting the economy is ships. The government prioritized the maritime sector in the national development, which has a positive impact on the domestic shipping industry to produce ships with various raw materials for product development. Fiberglass is one of type PRP or fiber reinforced plastic. In the manufacture of PRP or fiber reinforced wood, fiberglass is important part. FRP is a material that's light, strong, and easy to shape, making it widely used as a basic material in most industrial world for their products. Fiberglass has a light texture, sharp, making easy to be carried by the wind and inhaled so that is dangerous for health. Asbestosis is a lung disease caused by long-term exposure to asbestos fibers, in which scar tissue forms in the lungs. The lung tissue that forms fibrosis cannot expand and contract as it should. Indonesia has many coconut plantation. Part of the coconut plant has many benefits, but coconut char is still lacking in utilization and is considered as waste that is spilled under the coconut plant and then left to rot. Therefore, it is necessary to use coconut char as a natural fiber as an alternative to synthetic fibers. In the manufacture of composites. They are environmentally friendly and not harmful to health. So that their use continues to be development to produce composites that are more perfect and useful. The research problem in this research is first, how to analyze the variation of immersion time in the fiber delignification process on the mechanical properties of coconut fiber reinforced composite. The second is how to analyze the variation in the addition of fiber of the mechanical properties of coconut fiber reinforced composite. And number three is, can coconut fiber reinforced composite be used in the manufacture of fresh food? Okay, this is a research objective. First is knowing the analysis of the variation immersion time in the electrification process of the mechanical properties of cocoa fiber reinforced composite. And number two is knowing the analysis of variation in the adhesion of fiber to the mechanical properties of coconut fiber reinforced composite. Number three is knowing that cocoa fiber reinforced composite can or cannot be used in the manufacture of fresh food. Research significance. The first is add value to benefits of plantation waste. And second is as an effort to develop environmentally friendly material technology based on natural fiber composite. Number three is knowing the process of making composite. This is a research delimitation. The first is the cocoa fiber is used taken from Lumajang coconut plantation. Second, the type of matrix used is Eucalac 157 PKTN EX. And number three is mechanical testing is a tensile test. And number four is certification was carried out to using in alkali method and AHA 5% for 0, 45, and 90 minutes. Number five is the percentage of add fiber as much as 20, 30, and 40%. Number six, the orientation of the fibers used is continuously. Seven, the fiber used 25 centimeter long continuous fiber and considered as homogeneous in 1 millimeter diameter. Number eight, composite manufacturing technique used hand layup. And the last is specimens according to ASTM 3039. Okay, next is chapter number 2. There is a review of related literature. In this chapter, I'm going to explain the theory that I'm studying from literature. First, there is a composite. Composite is a new type of material combination of two or more materials, where the mechanical properties of the constituent materials are different. One is the material as a filler, and one other as a reinforcing phase. Fiber are usually elastic, have a good tensile strength, but cannot be used at high temperature. While the matrix is usually ductile, soft, and bending when it reaches its freezing point. These two materials with different properties are combined to get a new material, composite, that has different properties from the properties of the constituent particles. And the second, there is a delignification. Delignification or alkali treatment of fiber is a process of removing impurities or less effective fiber constituent components such as lignin, hemicellulose, or pectin. Reducing the less effective components will increase the interfacial strength and increase the surface roughness, which will result in better interlocking. And three, there is a tensile test. Tensile test is a mechanical test that aims to determine the strength of material against tensile force. By performing a tensile test, we find out how the material reacts to the tensile force and know how far the material has grown. Tensile testing is done by clamping the test object and then pulling continuously and regularly until it breaks. In this research, the tensile test standard was used, namely ASTM T3909. Okay, next is chapter number 3, research method. Okay, first there is making mold for specimen fabrication. The tools and materials that must be prepared is silicone rubber, catalyst, acrylic with specimen size mold, and mold. Uh, the process of making specimen mold is first shape the cardboard into a rectangle as a mold for the silicone rubber. After finish, place the acrylic with ASTM D3039 size in the middle of board mold. Second, pour the silicone rubber and catalyst in a ratio of 90 to which have been mixed and stirred in the mold. And last, let the mold sit for 1 day and it's ready to use. Next is the liquefaction process. In this process, is use 5% NaOH solution for 1 minute, 45 minutes, and 90 minutes. In this process, use a magnetic stirrer to help immersion process. After complete the specified time, the fiber is dried and prepared to the next process. The next process is density test. In this research, to determine the density of coir fiber, the picnometer method was carried out in this process by weighing the picnometer and the fiber. After that, the calculation is carried out using the basic formula, namely the mass of the fiber divided by the volume of the fiber, which is and then valid for reducing lignin levels by the FTIR method. FTIR, or Fourier transform infrared, is use the sample by coconut fiber that has been powdered with delignification and without delignification. In this test, the test is carried out using a tool to determine the compound. In analyzing the FTIR results, we need to look at the spectrum produced in order to determine the type of compound functional group at the specific peak. Next is specimen fabrication. In this process, the first prepare the resin and fiber that have been measured as needed. Remove the fiber bonds that have been tied with rubber. The arrange on the specimen mold. Slowly pour the resin. Then roll it on the surface of the fiber and resin so that it's evenly distributed. Finally, clamp the mold with iron. Next process is tensile test. Testing is carried out using universal testing machine. The capacity of the machine is 10 kilonewton and the standard of testing is ASTM D3039 standard. Statistic test. In the statistical test using two-way ANOVA, because there are two variables in this research, the test was carried out using Minitab software. This is a hypothesis for the composition and orientation of the H0 rejection condition if the p-value is smaller than alpha or phi value is greater than F table. Next is NVRB fabrication, or natural fiber reinforcement. After the testing tests were carried out, the composite with the best range obtained. Then the process of making NVRB is carried out. Okay, the next is chapter 4, result and discussion. The next, the following is the result of the fiber density test before the rectification is 1.28 gram milli. Then after the rectification for 40 minutes, the density becomes 1.90 gram milli, and the last certification for 90 minutes becomes 0.98 gram milli. On this slide is the spectrum graph of the FTIR test. The red line and the blue line show the FTIR results of the fiber after terrification. Next, in this table showing the peaks of the FTIR result graph in the fiber before the terrification, there is a peak at the wave number 1611. The peak indicates the CC function, which indicates non-cellulose or lignin compound. In the fiber after the wavelength identification of the CC functional group decrease the content value. So the terrification process does not completely remove lignin but only reduce the lignin. Next, there is a tensile strength. At the 45 minutes of immersion, the coconut fiber composite experienced the highest tensile strength. Compared to 90 minutes and 0 minutes of immersion, this was due to the fact that the longer and AHA was shocked. The fiber would be damaged in the fiber core, but the lowest tensile strength was obtained at 0 minutes of immersion. The process terrification also makes the surface roughness of fiber, making it easier for the fiber and resin to bend. At the 0 minutes of immersion is same as not shock. It makes the fiber unable to bend with the resin. At the 40% fiber composition at each immersion, the fiber has the highest tensile strength. This is because the more reinforcement, the tensile strength will increase. Because the fiber composite as a reinforcement is the main part in holding the load. All right, this is a chart of tensile strengths for all variants in this research. Next, this is a result of ANOVA. On the composition and orientation variable, value is smaller than alpha, and Ficon is greater than F table. Besides, on the result of ANOVA, there is a rejection of H0 in both independent variables. So it can be concluded that the immersion time and composition affect the tensile strength. Okay, in the fabrication of NRVB, the variable used 45 minutes of shocking the fiber, and the composition of the fiber is 40%. Some of obstacle in NVRB fabrication are when the resin is applied, it cannot be brushed, and after that, it cannot be rolled. Thus, it will damage the arrangement of the fibers they are arranged. The arrangement of the fibers hampers the production process because the coconut fibers are curved and irregular. The following, this is the NPRP when the test in the water. Okay. The last chapter is chapter number 5. There is conclusion and suggestion. This is a conclusion of this research is first immersion. The highest tensile strength is found in the immersion time of 45 minutes. The composition is strength at the 40% and 60% matrix composition is 60.96 MPa with deviation 6.36 MPa. And the last is fabrication. The manufacture of natural fiber reinforced put on coconut fiber reinforced composite is successful. Suggestion. First, using a homogeneous fiber length. The second, the fiber is set first for a long period of time. And next testing, maybe can use impact or bending testing. Thank you for your attention. I would like to apologize if I have a mistake. Thank you.